Hey everyone, what's going on? Thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Justin, and yesterday the Toronto Maple Leafs played a preseason game against the Montreal Canadiens, coming out with a 6-2 win, and shortly thereafter made some roster moves that a lot of people are discussing today, so I wanted to touch on them. The most notable names that are being discussed right now surround Semyon Gusev, Josh HoSang, Nick Robertson, and Nikita Gusev, as all four of those players will not be starting on the Toronto Maple Leafs this season. And we are starting to get a better idea of what this Toronto Maple Leafs team is going to look like for opening night, and I think that they look really strong. But the best thing about this year's team is how they have so much depth. I know Kyle Dubas loves to sign a lot of guys in free agency just so that he can create internal competition for game one, and he did just that with the likes of, again, SDA, Nick Robertson, Nikita Gusev, and Josh HoSang playing really good camps and preseason games and still not making the team. But that only means good things for the Toronto Maple Leafs this year. We'll start off with SDA here. Semyon Gusev, again, a player that I really didn't see playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs anytime soon, but came into this year's camp and preseason and played incredible, really. Even way better than Nick Robertson. I thought he made really smart decisions, showed great hands and great creativity, and I can see him being on the Leafs in the next few years, surprisingly enough to myself. But he doesn't make the team, and some people think that's not quite fair because, he had such a good training camp. But no, he's not ready. He needs a full year in the AHL. And speaking of which, Nick Robertson being sent down as well. The two of them played together in Peterborough, but haven't played together really since. So it'd be really cool to see them play a full AHL year. The two of them either on a line or on the same team on the Marlies, and see how they can produce and, more importantly, develop. And sticking on that Nick Robertson front, he's someone that when I was preparing my predictions for the roster for this season, I was sticking him in, but I think that was more because of the salary cap, considering he's on an entry-level contract, more than his readiness to actually step in the NHL and be a very productive player. And since then, we have made some really good depth signings, including the likes of someone like Michael Bunting, who plays on the left side and only costs $900,000 and is by far more NHL ready. So it makes so much sense that Michael Bunting takes that spot, and Nick Robertson gets the opportunity to once again, like SDA, get another year in the AHL, one that he shouldn't have had the opportunity to have last year. So this year, a full year in the AHL. Hopefully he can stay healthy, because last year he had some injury trouble, and I'd love to see how he can develop in there. And if there are injuries on the Leafs, maybe he'll get a shot in the future. But I don't think this is the wrong move. He didn't really stick out in preseason training. I expected a little bit more of him, so clearly he needs another year in pro hockey just to develop his skills a little bit more. Nikita Gusev played pretty well. I think a lot of people saw much more than I did out of this player. I saw a very one-dimensional player who loved to shoot the puck, and that's someone that we obviously need. I mean, the Toronto Maple Leafs in the last few years in the playoffs, it's been scoring, surprisingly enough, that the Leafs have been lacking. So a player like Nikita Gusev makes a lot of sense because of his scoring ability and his offensive mindset, but he's just way too much of a one-dimensional player, didn't provide much at all outside of the offensive zone. On the power play, that's where he should have made like his bread and butter, and just didn't take advantage very often. He made some good plays, but never put the puck in the net, and it just, I needed to see a little bit more, and clearly with the depth that we've had on the Leafs roster, he needed much more of a performance to make this team, and so I completely understand why he was cut and released from his PTO. Nikita Gusev, unlike Josh HoSang, who did really impress on his PTO, I thought he came in with a fantastic attitude. Attitude was the number one holding Josh HoSang back. He has the skill, he has the talent, he just has expected things to come to him. And his mindset this year of, I'm going to work for it, really paid off. He made a really good impression on the team, really good impression on the fans. Clearly, everybody's still talking about him, and he earned a contract in the Leafs organization, but this time only on the AHL. Now, I was a little bit surprised that it's a one-way pure AHL contract and not a two-way. I think that's just because of, cap details and working out how many people you can get on an NHL roster. But I have no doubt if Josh HoSang keeps up his productivity, keeps his positive mindset, plays well in the AHL, his contract will and can get upgraded to an NHL contract where he can slot in again in case of injury or if we need that extra body. But with these moves, I think we're getting a really good idea of what the Leafs opening night roster will be. You've got Matthews Marner with Nick Ritchie, who, he's been gelling quite well with Marner, and I think obviously if you put Austin Matthews in that line, it's only going to get better. You have Tavares, Nylander, and they tested it out yesterday with Ilya Mikheyev, which I think does make sense as well. Ilya Mikheyev, someone that's been snake bitten a little bit, can't really score in the offensive zone. So if you're trying to spark that out of him, who better to play him with than Nylander and Tavares? He will put up goals as a result. Third line being Kasha, Kampf, and Kerfoot. Kerfoot on the wing, which is I think where he should be playing. And that's a really strong third line, one that has a lot of defensive responsibility and is very capable in their own zone, but does have some scoring threat as well, especially Kerfoot and Kasha on the wings. Those are two guys that know how to put the puck in the net. And then lastly, that fourth line is looking like it's going to be Spezza, Bunting, and Simmons, or you can interchange a few other players. I think Adam Brooks is someone that played really well last year and impressed me a lot again in this preseason. I'd like to see him slot in on the fourth line once in a while, but Simmons is under contract. But man, that's going to be a nasty fourth line to play against. One with a lot of skill. Jason Spezza and Michael Bunting sure know how to put the puck in the net, but Bunting and Simmons sure know how to piss you off and aren't afraid to drop the gloves either. So that's going to be a nasty fourth line to face. And I think that provides a lot of versatility and depth on the offensive front. And I think those lines are pretty much set as they are. I think the left wingers, maybe you can slide up and down here or there. Kerfoot, you could stick with Tavares and Nylander. I think Bunting could even get that chance. So play around with that left wing, but those seem to be the players and the lines roughly of what we're going to see as of game one. With that all said, I think the team looks really solid, and even better yet, we've got pieces that are developing still, but a lot of pieces ready to knock on the door for an NHL contract, whether that's some point this year, next year, 2 years from now. The future is bright, which is a very good thing. And again, the competition and depth is so important on a team. And if any of the players go down, hopefully it's not one of the big guys, but we've got centers ready to fill center spots, right wingers, left wingers ready to fill those spots as well. So I think the team's in a good position heading into the regular season. So what are your thoughts on the moves that the Leafs have made? Obviously, they made a lot of roster moves. Some people went on waivers, some people got sent down, some people relieved from contracts. So let me know your thoughts. We are 1 week away from Leafs regular season hockey as of today. I'm super excited. I can't wait. So thank you so much for clicking on this video, and I will see you in the next one.